Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Beyonce and you can call me B. So today I'm going to be talking about a birthday project I did for my sister. My sister has had a bit of a stressful year. We'll call her Tony, which she actually goes by. And I knew I wanted to do something special so that she could be reminded of how loved she is and how much I appreciate her. She is one of the most amazing sisters you could ever ask for. I know a lot of little sisters have probably said that about their big sisters, but when I say it, I really mean it. And what says love more than a homemade gift? So this year, I formulated and created a body butter for her and just for her. She's always shown how much she loved and cared for me, even with small things like letting me yap about my newest favourite K drama or talking to her about a book I'm reading or a movie I've watched or just anything under the sun, really. I thought, okay, what better way to show my appreciation for absolutely everything she's done. The whole time I formulated it and created it, it was with her in mind. So I saw what I had in stock and weighed all the ingredients just to see how much I had available and for me to more accurately formulate her body butter. Because at the time I was waiting for my business advisor to get back to me. So I knew that I could, to an extent, take my time on this project and not have to stress about work. I knew I wanted it to be sweet smelling and kind of citrusy. I knew that I wanted to create a special personalized label. I'll sound like a broken record, but once again, I just really wanted her to feel all the love that I put into this, okay? And the ingredients I used were shea butter, cocoa butter, aloe vera butter, organic argan oil, jojoba oil, and almond oil. I also used vitamin E oil, arrowroot powder, and then the grapefruit and rose geranium essential oils. Of course, the overall aim was for it to be silky smooth and buttery and just melt instantly into your skin. So I got started. And initially, there was a bit of a time crunch, I'm going to be honest, because I had about a day to formulate, or should I say a day and a half, and then 2 days to just make sure I had everything I needed again, going over all of the ingredients and how much I had left, and then actually making the product. Now, I knew that I wanted it to be a surprise. She could not find out at all because I wanted to see her face. I was like, oh, that's not, you know what I mean? I feel like normally I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna make this for you, and you let me know if you really like it. Blah blah blah. No, this time I had to be super stealthy because although we don't live together, she occasionally comes to visit, either by herself or with my nieces. So on the day I actually formulated it, I had to be like, hi, are you popping around at all at any time today? She was like, oh, no, I'm not sure. So, okay, there is a 50-50 chance that she will. So I was like, okay, I have to get this done as quickly as possible, but also not rush the actual but also not but also not rush the actual process. So I made sure I had all my documents and my formulation notebook and everything on hand, and I ran downstairs and I weighed out all of the ingredients, put the butters into the double boiler and just melted those. Meanwhile, I kept looking out see, anytime I heard a car drive past or stop and then you hear the car door slam, I was like, oh my gosh, I bet that's her, but that's her. And also, I'm getting ahead of it myself. Before I even did that, I had to make sure the space was clear and clean. I haven't used it in ages, so I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple of dust bunnies. So I just had to make sure it was properly wiped down, there was enough space for everything. And as you guys know, I have very, very limited space. This is why I need a actual office, but I just had to make do for this project. So I just had to make do with the limited space, but I've used it before, so it was not too bad. Once that was done, like I said, I then melted down the butters. I then let that cool, and I added in the essential oils and arrowroot powder once it had cooled to a low enough temperature, because if you put it in too early, the whole formulation changes. It can become grainy. The actual essential oils are somewhat diluted by the oils and the butters when it is at a higher temperature. So I had to make sure that, using the thermometer, I had to make sure it was at the right temperature. Okay, and then the worst thing happened. Okay, you guys know I'm dramatic, but the worst thing happened. She pulled up outside and I was like, oh my god, I haven't whipped it. I haven't piped it into the jar. I was like, I need to hide this. Luckily, I had just taken it out from cooling, so I just quickly threw it back in the fridge. Um, and then I was worried she'd see the counter look different and be like, like, what's going on? Are you making something? Are you doing something? So I threw a bunch of towels, not like normal towels, like tea towels, over certain things to cover it. And then as she came in, I just, that particular corner of that wall looks really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, she came in, I greeted her as normal. I stayed away from that counter completely because I was worried if I went near it at all, she'd be like, that's interesting. Luckily, she didn't notice at all, which I was very surprised at. But to be fair, at the time, she had a lot of work stress going on. So there was that I guess worked in my advantage in a weird way. So her and my youngest niece was there. They stayed for a little while. We yapped about whatever. I think I put a show on to distract myself, also her. She left quite late, so I had to wake up early the next day to whip it and pipe it into the jars. So as I said, I wanted her to feel all the love I was pouring into this, so I made a personalized label. I thought I'd call it Sweet Harmony because it's formulated just for her, and the harmony part, honestly, I think it just had a nice ring to it. I put some blue hearts on the label because her favourite colour is blue, and then in the back I just wrote a message saying how much I love her, how I don't know what I'd do without her, and just how amazing she is, and I hope she knows how much I love her, and I hope she enjoys the butter as much as I enjoyed making it for her. So I had that little message at the back, and I am not gonna lie, I did cry a little even just typing out the message because I'm very dramatic and extra. So once I successfully whipped and piped the product into the jars, I cleaned the jars on the outside. Obviously they were already cleaned before I piped them in, but because during the piping process the jars can get a bit messy, I just needed to give it a bit of a wipe down, and then I brought them upstairs so I could label them. And I had a spare box. I had one box left actually, and even though this wasn't really do the business necessarily, I wanted it to be branded, so I did put a stamp on the inside and outside of the box. I'm not gonna lie, the box was not in the best condition. I would have preferred, if I had more time, I would have maybe tried to order something and just had something more pristine, I guess you could say. I made sure to wrap it with tissue paper because I knew that we'd be going to her house to deliver it, so I didn't want it to be shaken up at all inside the bag. I didn't want, like, for example, the labels to get nicked or scratched by anything. So I wrapped it and boxed it up, and then I put it in her gift bag. But it turns out I did have a couple extra days because she was busy. I brought her for her birthday brunch instead. And although it was a quieter work period in terms of the business, I still had admin and things to do. So I was trying to manage my time in a way that I could get that stuff done. I could make the product for her as well as filming it for this video. I'm pretty proud of myself, honestly, that I managed to do all of that and she had no idea. It was easier that she doesn't live with us, like I said, but I still did it. So I don't believe I showed this, but as well as the body butters, I got her a card, and on the inside I just wrote how proud of her I am, how amazing she's been as a sister, and how inspiring it is to watch her grow her own business while working full 9 to 5, as well as looking after my nieces and being able to manage it all. My sister wears a lot of hats. She is a midwife assistant, she is a photographer, she's a singer, she's an event planner, and she does all of this while still making time for family, friends, making time for my nieces, and honestly, I aspire to be as amazing as her one day. And so when we got to brunch, I, handed her the gift bag during brunch before our food came, and just watching her face. She's not like as dramatic as me, so But just seeing the smile on her face, it made everything worth it. Not that I had to go through some big hardship to make these, but I was very, very happy that it had the impact that I wanted. I also was like to her, like, turn it around and look at the back and read the little message. So I'm very, very happy that she loved it so much. When she smelled it, she was like, "Oh, it smells really good." I had actually one spare which I gave to my nan, and she's absolutely loved it. Like, hers is almost finished, and it's been a couple of weeks now, but it just makes me really happy to see how happy it made my loved ones. It reminded me of why I even started Rosa Beauty in the first place. So this little passion project, you could say, was a great way to kind of remind myself why I'm working so hard to start Rosa Beauty. And even when it gets rough or when there's slow periods, I should keep going and keep working towards this dream of mine. So overall, I'm incredibly happy with how the body butter turned out. I'm happy with the overall formulation and how the body butter turned out in the end. It was perfectly silky. The smell was beautiful, if I do say so myself. And even the fact like my nan really loved it and I had a spare that I could give to her. Like small things like that. I was happy that this small gesture was able to bring joy to the people I care about. Seeing my sister absolutely love the body butter and use it as much as possible has made me really happy. And there's something really beautiful and special about giving a homemade gift over someone you love and seeing their face light up in a way that's like, I did that. Not to toot my own horn, but it is just a really nice feeling. I'll definitely do it again sometime. So yeah, that is it actually. That's all of it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave it down in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. And aren't you proud of me? Of how little waffle there was in this video? I cut it back a lot. I mean, then again I had less to talk about, but yeah, okay. I'm waffling now. Okay. Where am I going? I don't know. You know what? You go. You go first, okay? Okay. Alright. Yeah, so now I need to edit this.